Hello and welcome to Smaulgld's quarterly report on the Swiss National Bank's gold and silver mining share holdings for the quarter ended March 31st, 2017. Well, the Swiss National Bank slashed their gold and silver mining share holdings in the first quarter of 2017. Swiss National Bank cuts positions of big name mining shares in the first quarter. Swiss National Bank cuts holdings in large miners by 7 to 15% in Q1 2017. Positions in Franco-Nevada, Gold Core, Silver Wheaton, and Yamana holdings each cut over 10%. Now, the Swiss National Bank, we broke the story last summer after we had seen reports on Zero Hedge that the Swiss National Bank was buying equities in the United States and they had established a large equity portfolio. I decided to check to see if any of those equity shares might be in the form of gold and silver mining shares, and indeed they were. And I published a report showing their holdings as of the end of June 2016. I also discovered they've been holding gold and silver mining shares for a few years. So it was kind of what I think was Zero Hedge called it the secret buyer. Well, in August of 2016, when we made that report, the holdings that the Swiss National Bank had at the end of June 2016 were worth nearly $1 billion. Now, we've got a chart for you below showing what those holdings were in 2016. And we've been tracking that mining portfolio every quarter since then. And there hasn't really been much of a change. They kind of went up a little, down a little. But essentially, at year end, the Swiss National Bank had not the same value in mining shares, because in the summer of 2016 mining shares are higher than they were at the end of the year, but they had essentially, give or take, single digit percentage number of shares as they did in June as they did at the end of 2016. However, in the first quarter of 2017, although the Swiss National Bank appears to have added, they had about $63 billion worth of equities in U.S. shares at the end of 2016. They boosted that to over $80 billion in the first quarter. However, they did not do it by increasing their gold and silver mining shares. In fact, the trend went the other way when it came to the gold and silver mining shares. Now, the Swiss National Bank cut only 10 of its 33 holdings, but it cut the largest ones. So let's take a look at what's happened. So Gold Core, they cut over 1.134 million shares since last summer. Franco-Nevada, 278,000 shares. Agnico Mines, about 286,000 shares since last summer. Newmont Mining, their top holding, was the only one in the top 10 that escaped a big hacking, and they increased their shares by 10% in Newmont Mining. So here's the chart. You can look at it at your leisure. It's much easier to see on the Smaulgld website. I will put a link for you below. You can go and check out the chart. I've kept the data from June 30th, 2016. That's the second quarter of 2016, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. And now we have the first quarter. In red, you see the shares, the companies in which shares were cut, and by what percent. Now that's from June. They're similar to the holdings in December, but I did it from the percentages from June to the end of the first quarter of 2017. And here's the chart from the third quarter, showing an $876 million portfolio. That portfolio has been slashed. And then you go back to the mid-June, June 2016 holdings, when the Swiss National Bank held about 987 billion. So people are saying that the Swiss National Bank printed money to buy all those additional shares. Maybe they got, I have to figure out, and I will report to you tomorrow, the value of the shares that were sold by the Swiss National Bank, the shares of the sold the mining shares, and to see what that difference was, and if they used the proceeds from the shares of the sales of the shares of the silver and gold mining shares to buy those additional equities in the US. Now the Swiss National Bank, they're a big buyer of, or at least holder now, of gold and silver mining shares, but they've eliminated a good portion, as you can see here, of their gold reserves. They sold about 60% of it since the year 1999. They used to hold about 2,500 tons, and now they hold, I think, 1,050. Further reading, go back and check the other reports. Swiss National Bank's $1 billion gold and silver mining share portfolio. And then Norway is another country, but this is the sovereign wealth fund of Norway. But they also have a decent silver and gold mining share portfolio. That about does it for today. I will get to you the further numbers on the Swiss National Bank's mining share holding values at the end of March 30th, 2017. So please subscribe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.